These glitch effects that happen every once in a while, they're way too hard.
I've seen you do better.
I really like this kind of like hand shot where it's kind of doing some shrivelly thing.
I would try to add some geometry and project that texture onto it. I disagree. That's the hill I'm gonna die on.
We're dying on different hills.
I'm gonna do the intro now. What's up, Animators? Sharp here, and welcome to G.E.A.R, a series where you send me your work and I give my expert art reviews. But today, I'm not alone. I have a special guest here with me. Tom, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Tom. People probably know me by G.E.A.R if they know me. I've been doing 3D and the Blender stuff for like 6 years, so hopefully I bring insight. We'll see.
Don't undersell yourself here. That's some genius stuff. He's a geometry nodes wizard. He makes procedural rivers and stuff like that, so go check out his channel if you don't know him. But for our purposes, we're here to shit on your work, to give you some constructive criticism.
Beautiful. I love that they're open to
being destroyed. That's the whole promise of the show, yeah. First submission is by Turio. He says, started as a face rig, a recreation from one from a previous software, and then it turned out into more of a short film. What time is it, by the way, for you?
10 a.m.
Okay, so it's not like too early or anything.
No, I should be awake by now.
Thanks again for coming, by the way. It's very nice of you.
Well, I'm excited to
roast. It's been a while.
You gotta believe me, officer. There was no normal kidnapping.
Okay, so it's a 2D style. It's like an item sheet sort of rig. What do you say?
I mean, so if the main goal is to lip sync, right? Like that's what they're testing. To me, it seems in sync. As for the render, I do like that it's super dark, as in this person's getting like interrogated, kind of. I think this camera shake to me reads as very, I put the camera shake filter.
It's interesting because it says it's made with Blender. I used to be a Minecraft animation channel. I used a software called Mine Imator, but this is completely made in Blender, yet somehow it does resemble the old lighting. But it is an interesting approach, like with the item sheet thing. I know a lot of people do this with stylized animations. They'll make item sheets and rigs that when you move the controls, it kind of snaps to different, what is it called, sprites. It's an interesting approach, and you can definitely tell that things are being said from his mouth.
Honestly, it's kind of hard to critique because it looks like, you know, this Minecraft style, so asking for it to be any more realistic isn't kind of the point.
Kloofy, this is one of my first animations, please be nice. Okay, that's an honor. Is it the first or one of the first? One of the first animations. Okay, let's see. Warning, flashing lights for those of you with epilepsy.
I just want
Okay, transitions are pretty smooth.
Yeah, honestly, this is pretty like dope for like a first project that has like that music video momentum.
There's also compositing in here, look at this. These transitions here. No, that's pretty sick. I have to ask, like, is this one of your first animations ever, or just specifically using Blender? Because that might be a little cheat here.
My only critique is when he's kind of like in space. Yeah, so there's this kind of like lens flare thing going on, which is perfectly coming from the center, which I think is super weird. I feel like that's the Blender glare node set to ghost or something like that. To me, that reads as a little weird and a little overpowering.
I mean, I would expect the light source at least.
Yeah, if it's that insanely bright, so too do you have to see, you know, like a white circle at minimum.
I'm guessing the rig is made by Thomas. I know the Thomas rig. I once did an animation for PewDiePie using the Thomas rig. But the animation still, like, you had to animate this, and this doesn't feel like someone's first animation, so...
Yeah, especially this shot where he's, like, in a room in front of a computer.
Yo, there's a photo in the background. Not everything is Minecraft. Did you take a video of your room and this is like superimposed? Because if that's so, that's next level. I do superimposition a lot.
Yeah, and this keyboard and this like headphones looks like just kind of real.
How did you do the headphones, bro? Kloofy, if you're in the comment section, you have to let me know. A faceless person. From the first system, it's been almost 6 years. Yeah, it's gonna be a full short film and it's not the most action-packed or full of life. It's pretty slow, but I hope you enjoy it.
So cold I could see my breath in the air. I was shivering from head to toe and my fingers were turning white, with the only light being above me, following me wherever I went.
I haven't dabbled with grease pencil that much, but I know you can make some seriously amazing stuff with it. I'm not sure about the lines on the hands here. They kind of make it look weird. The oversaturated tones, it feels like an animation from 2012 when this style was very prevalent. But then again, it could be very stylized, so this could very well be intentional. That's just some of the things that took me off.
First of all, a thing I like, I've been actually doing something kind of similar with like stop motion-y for like the side work I do, and I'm a big fan. I wonder if there's actually like video reference that this person's basically tracing on top of. I'd say the hand looks like heavily distorted to the point where even if that's the point, it should be a bit cleaner. There's something called a noise modifier in Grease Pencil that will take a drawing and kind of distort it every frame to kind of mess with the lines. If that is the case, maybe just reduce that. And if you are just trying to look for like the grungiest look, forget what it's called, but there's a modifier that takes your line and triples it and fades it. That's what I would recommend. I'm sure they know what I'm talking about.
How hard is it actually to animate in Grease Pencil? I haven't done that before.
It's really good. Like, I don't have much experience in like Flash or whatever alternative. It's surprisingly easy, especially since you can actually integrate it with 3D Blender.
What if you have an object, you can put like grease pencil on top of it and it's in 3D space?
Right. So you get this 2D projection looking thing, but with the benefits of 3D, which is so much easier in my opinion.
Damn, I have to look into that. That sounds amazing. PM, this animation is about two characters, one of them being jealous of another since they were replaced and now takes things into their own hands. Okay, they're edited and textured by me. Lighting and everything else is made by me. Let's take a look. Okay, so this is FNAF. The models are not his, so we're looking at the animation and the lighting. And honestly, yeah, that looks nice. The lighting, I mean, this frame here, you can see where the light is coming from. I like the nice little edge light here. I always love my edge lights because they separate the character from the background. The G.E.A.R is also very soft, and with the materials and textures, it's integrated well. You can see all those little gunk on the metal here. And also in the lights, you always have reflections in the eyes. Catch light is what it's called. If you don't have that, the character looks dead. And here, it's implemented very well.
Yeah, so if we're mainly kind of critiquing lighting and composition, I really like this kind of like hand shot where it's kind of doing some shrivelly thing. I think that's super cool. Yeah. The only thing I would maybe add is this feels like something that could be much more like volumetric since it's very like dark and grunge and whatever. I would just do like a volumetric pass, run it through an addition, even only on 10%. I think I saw some particles in the air.
Yeah, I see it.
It's pretty subtle, but I do like that.
There's a lot of attention to detail here, which is nice.
Yeah, this looks very nice.
No, this is nice.
Good work.
Little crafting ideas. This is an art piece I created in late 2023 before my avatar head model. Oh, so this is episode 1. Someone submitted a head of the Navi, the avatars, the blue aliens, which looked pretty nice. So this is the same person, but it's an earlier work. Can I full screen this?
You can kind of zoom in on Chrome or whatever you're using. You hold control and then mouse wheel. Yeah.
That's the way to go. I guess one comment, I guess two comments I have. Number one, the background is obviously an HDRI. I would try to add some geometry and project that texture onto it, just to avoid the whole parallax thing. Number two, the dragon could be higher poly, because the smoothing artifacts are showing.
Yeah, so I really like this idea of like using things that are real, you know, this HDRI. I feel like this comes across as very layer 1, layer 2.
Yeah.
There isn't much integration, right? Very basic things, geometry, like you're saying, just a bit of depth of field will automatically make it feel like there's kind of the same camera.
True.
I feel like this would really benefit from motion blur with the wings flapping, whereas wings, you never see wings, so...
Also, while we're at this, maybe make the wings flap faster, because butterflies' flights are very spasmic. They go in all sorts of directions.
And then just kind of random tip, the lighting of the background's very, like, intense, very dark, whereas this looks very...
It's soft.
You could just take an ambient occlusion pass and multiply a little.
Interesting take. I like seeing, you know, some more daring shots with characters and fantasy stuff implemented.
And if you want to take it further, little crafting ideas, look into Blender motion tracking, so you can actually take video from a forest and literally integrate it.
Oh yeah, I've seen your series in motion tracking. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad it's useful.
Mostly a texture showcase, so that's where I want most opinions. Okay.
I've taken over the show. This is the Tom Show.
All good. No footage was lost. I'm gonna let you have the first word on this one. What do you think?
I think I'm seeing a lot of like chromatic aberration, which I think is a bit strong, which I like, but it should always be subtle. And this also gives off layer 1, layer 2. So maybe if there's some kind of like any kind of shadow that makes it look like this thing is standing on something.
I mean, they did say it's made completely in the compositor of the background, but fair point. They did say textures is the main focus. And honestly, I'm not gonna pronounce your name, but I know who you are. I've seen you do better. I know you can do better. I think most of the texture is just covered in this like general bumpy material. There's no intention. The edges and the crevices and stuff, I think could benefit more from that. It's the same everywhere, right? That's my problem. Although this cloth material, this is nice. No comment here.
Yeah, a little bit of a tip for texturing or shading. Use ambient occlusion node or bevel node to easily isolate where wear and tear should be.
I think this was done with Painter, actually.
Well, yeah, Substance Painter also has those features for sure. So use those to isolate areas where it should be like a little rusty or whatever.
Robix. I added the reference image not in the URL thing. I did not edit the image from any other software, it's just Blender. This is apparently 100% Blender. Wait, what?
Wow.
Wait, no. What? You can see the compression. That's a screenshot. In the not URL. Oh, so this is the reference. Okay.
Well, the reference is really good.
And this does not work. I think I should be in the server if I wanted to see this. Mr. Mech, I know this person. This is the newest OC. Her name is Marmar. She's basically a spider woman. I think I know what this is. Yeah, it's this thing. Again, I'm gonna let you have the first word.
My favorite part is this kind of like spider eye thing that is a bit creepy, which I enjoy. The rest of it, maybe the shading, it looks extremely default materials, but you just changed metallicness and the color. I think that's the main thing. I really like the pose. I just feel like the materials could really benefit, even if you do want stumps at the bottom of the feet. Very faceted. Like add a subdivision surface, because I can see these harsh edges.
I agree with you on most things. The spider eyes is definitely the most interesting feature. The head, I think, is a little bit too round. It's not interesting. And also, like you said, textures, I think, is the majority of things. Because the skin does have a little bit of, noise bumps. I don't know if you can see that, how compressed it is on Discord. But the rest of the clothes, the default material with changed colors. You can see the polygons here. That aside, it's a nice character. Mine Imator, we're gonna skip this one, and it's hard to give feedback. So if you say, oh, the normals are fucked here, you can't do anything about it in the Mine Imator. Mine Imator is not accepted, guys. I'm saying this now. Please stop submitting Mine Imator stuff. It's been 3 episodes. I'm still receiving these. Savage the Average. Made it for a client. I don't know why they accepted it. It still needs to be polished. Feel free to shit on it. Okay, you can be as rude as you want now. Okay. Sort of like a cell-shaded look / Roblox.
These glitch effects that happen every once in a while, they're way too hard.
I think if they were faster, it would be nicer. If they're just like for a split frame, you could go for extremes. It's like anticipation, right? Like the shorter the action is, the more you can exaggerate it to make it feel normal. The polygons on the mirror, I don't know if that's intentional or not, but the characters don't seem to have the same thing, so it kind of feels a little bit off. I want to talk about the animation because it does feel kind of stiff. Different body parts don't react to each other, so when the head moves, the body is going to support that. There's long, eased motions that don't go anywhere. Try to avoid that.
At some point, it becomes a cracked mirror. If you do that, what happens when you crack glass is each fragment is kind of reflecting a different angle, which kind of makes it look very kind of like mirror ball-y, like they're not all facing the same way, which is very cool, but that isn't reflected here. It's almost like you just slapped a texture on top of the mirror.
I love how you notice things that are completely different from what I was talking about.
Yeah, we're covering a big spectrum.
This is why it's useful to have co-hosts on the show, because this is the last thing I would have think about. So this is by Pam. He lost some footage for context. Combination of 2D and 3D, and it originated from work they did in a children's book illustration class. So far what we said is the intro is interesting, 2D cutout style, and we're kind of crapping on the Voronoi floor, although I don't think it's that bad.
It's too in your face.
I disagree. That's the hill I'm gonna die on.
We're dying on different hills.
You were saying something about something.
I like the first person, and what you're gonna see in a second during the seesaw is at some point you're gonna look up at the sky, and there's these weird seams where the clouds are.
I think it's an inverted UV sphere, because on the top and the bottom, the UV sphere doesn't have connected UVs, so you naturally always get seams.
Make sure you use a equi-rectangular projection. It will avoid those.
The animation and the lighting and everything is very basic, but that's kind of the whole point, right? It's a children's illustration book. You kind of want to make it look like a children's illustration books. This achieves the purpose, I guess, it was made for.
Yeah, color scheme is great, just different shades of blue.
Vilyama YT. Have a good day, hashtag no homo. Thank you very much, sir.
I'm ready for the disturbing images.
No, I think it's actually well made. I let you watch a few snippets of it before saying anything first.
I really like the moon, the creative decision to just make it a big cube.
I was going to say I love the rig, the jaw thing, but I also like the lighting in some shots. It's very nice. It's basically just edge lights and a little bit of a red fill. That's all you need. The pacing itself, I guess, could be a little faster for a video spot like this. Given the style that this is trying to make an impression as, I think it's a little bit too slow. By itself, I think it's good.
Yeah, cool Hitchcock zoom, by the way.
Okay, so Alex, can you read this?
Alex Veer Derisa?
I'm so sorry, man. The first proper animation I've made, a Lethal Company-based short. I want to get some feedback on how to improve from there. This looks interesting. I feel like it's a little bit low poly and the characters don't fit in the environment. I guess the characters are assets. The materials on the scenery are a little bit flat. The doors, specifically, the golden part around like the arches.
I will say the texel density is not uniform. Some things are like different sizes, the texture space. Yeah, like this door. Yeah, like those splotches are quite big for what I'd expect.
Is it texel density or is it just the texture scale? Right? Because sometimes you have all the resolution matches, but like the size of the fibers on the door don't make sense with the scene.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
I like the screen shader here. LED lights into RGB.
This eye animation's great.
It's jittery. I like it. That's how eyes move. The textures on this dude, that's good. I like this. I guess in places it is missing some idle motion, but we're not here to notice only the bad things. Like I love this shot, the whole blood thing.
Yeah, that's really great. The blood smearing on the teeth, that looks really natural.
Cinematography in here is actually nice, like the shot planning, and you can tell this was thought out. Lighting in some shots are movie-like. In other places, there's a lot of things to comment on, so it's like the consistency of the quality is fluctuating a lot. There's nothing you can really say that could apply to the overall thing.
I like all the lens stuff that happens throughout the thing, a lot of lens dirt. I will say, like, the main thing that I think can be improved across the board is the motion doesn't usually look great, except for the eye. The eye looks great. I think every individual frame looks very interesting, but whenever there's motion, it feels off.
Fairly new to 3D art, and I don't know why this render isn't popping. Okay, let's take a look. That's interesting.
I think the reason this isn't popping is, I don't know, like, it's almost like there should be those anime lines that you see that kind of direct the motion. It just doesn't feel like there's much energy going sideways, whereas there should be.
I have a different take on this. So number one, I think this would pop more if there was glow, like light fall off coming from the beam. If it was bleeding light, that make it appear more strong. Also, the background I'm noticing is just an image which had its exposure brought down because the white parts just turned gray. There's no additional information being revealed here. It feels muted where it's not necessary, and also there's a lot of grain on the image. The light should definitely be coming from this only from this laser beam. This is the source of energy. You want the energy and the light coming from here if you want to emphasize its strength.
And usually this kind of reminds me of a lightsaber effect where it's hottest in the middle of the beam, energy dissipation as it goes to the edges of the cylinder. And I will say the sun in the background is kind of actually the main focus in a way, whereas I feel like it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like that lens flare is overpowering, whereas I'd imagine what's important is this laser beam.
I see some sunlight coming from this side. This shouldn't be here. The laser is the main focus. This is your money element, I guess. Focus on this. Linkio Licro. This is officially my second ever humanoid rig. So in best terms, this is a work in progress. In reality, it's a jumping point for me to just know how to get started in rigging and modeling. This is a rig, which is not fully rigged yet. Okay, so it's a blend file. If I get a virus, I'm gonna sue you. Does Blender open up slower for you nowadays?
Actually, yes. I'm running 4.2, and it does feel a bit slower.
How slow are we talking?
So if I'm just opening plain Blender, maybe 2 seconds, but if I'm opening up a scene that's heavy, it could be as high as a minute.
Yeah, sometimes even plain Blender is closer to a minute for me, and I don't know what the deal is. I've updated all the drivers. I'm like, is this the update, or is my PC just slowly declining?
Yeah, the only way is if you have like a lot of heavy add-ons that initialize.
I don't think so. So we have this rig here, and just like he said, it's not rigged yet, so we don't need the armature here.
It's very PS2. That's clear. It feels like a pre-year 2000 kind of model. I like how goofy the head is, just like pure metal.
Procedural wave texture. I like this. I had my hunches. It's not, you know, face-based material assignment. So I'm not sure if this is supposed to be low poly or not. So if I hop into shaded mode so you can see it better. Certain parts like this feel a little bit denser, but then at the same time you see stuff like this, which kind of feel very conservative with the amount of polygons. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be looking at a low poly or a high poly model. So if you were to add a subdivision surface modifier, but before that you would add a bevel modifier, you can see how it instantly affects how this whole thing looks like, right? Either make everything high poly or make everything low poly. And also, I guess in places like this, I've noticed, yeah, I figured this would happen. The topology here is not really, doesn't make much sense. You would normally delete this face, and this is the face where everything is on. So you would add, I'm gonna make a quick fix here. So you add some topology here. These two get merged at last. These two get merged, but then everything has to be quad, so you connect these edges here, and it just turns into a whole mess. So objects like these are never easy to work with. I'm not sure what to say here. I would make this out of multiple parts just to avoid the whole topology thing. So consistency when it comes to density, and also topology with items like this.
And just a quick tip for if this guy's newer in Blender, once you do this like bevel subdiv thing you did on the chest plate, you can literally just select all the others and hit Control L.
Oh yeah, like this. As long as this is the active selection, Control L, copy modifiers. Boom, and they're all gonna get that.
I feel like that's an instant quality boost.
I think that's a useful thing to mention when saying something like that. Well, that was G.E.A.R episode 3. Thank you, Tom, for joining. I can't explain how kind of you it is to do this. Guys, check out Tom's channel if you haven't already. Tom, is there anything you want to say?
Good job. Generally, some of these were legitimately very good, usually in terms of lighting and composition. Everybody start practicing geonodes. It's the new way of the future. That's all I got.
It's like a little pitch.
You should. It makes something so much easier.
If you will practice geonodes, you know, Tom is the right channel to address. So, Tom, thank you again for joining us.
Goodbye, everybody. I hope you have a good day. Make sure you improve those renders, and yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks again to Tom for co-hosting the episode. If you want to submit your work for part 4, the link is in the description. If you want to chat with the community or vote for future tutorials and stuff like that, you should join my Discord server. It's a lovely community and you're all welcome. Once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time and stay sharp.